Would you like a little welding fabrication tip on how to deal with distortion and not have this piece pull in on you when you weld it? Stay tuned. Everybody, Chris Winarski, we're back again for, I guess you could call it a Fab Tip Friday on how to deal with distortion, especially with stainless steel, and how to stop stuff from bending. Fab Tip Friday, Welding Distortion, Warping, Keeping Parts Square, Episode 4.
Warning. Flashing lights occurred during this video. Please use caution. The content and techniques you see in this video are performed by professionals. We ask that you do not attempt at your own risk. Thank you.
Today's project, we got this metal shelf stainless steel type 316, but it was CNC cut these things and bent and everything. And the way this one was bent, it had a little bigger gap than this side over here. This side was a nice fit up, was able to get a nice weld on it, and it came out pretty good, pretty square after I welded it. This side I fit up pretty square when I welded it, but we just had a big gap in there and square now. But my mistake was, see, I don't know if you can see that big gap in there. It's like a, I don't know, 3/16 quarter-inch gap on that end. It was more equal then, but then I welded it. My mistake was I only put a tack there, and I knew I should have probably put one in the middle. I don't remember if I put one in the middle or not, but then I put a aluminum backer bar when I was ready to weld it, because I didn't want to weld it up here and ruin the table, and it was hard to get into. But I should have put more tacks on there, and that might have helped it. So you could put more tacks on your thing, because it's going to shrink. It's always going to shrink, especially aluminum shrinks a lot. So that's one trick. So if you just want to open it up to perfectly square, just put 1, 2, and then put like a couple more on the inside. It might look a little uglier. And then with stainless steel, it's good to put a backer on the inside of aluminum or brass, because it'll protect that inside. The argon might shield it a little and help the backside from sugaring more and getting all that nasty porosity in there. So that's a good way to weld it. But stainless steel, and it likes to warp a little bit more. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up just a hair more than 90 degrees. And let's see if you can see right now. I got that little, I might do got a little rock in there, and that might just be perfect enough where it shrinks. That weld mill is going to shrink a little when I weld it, where it might just pull in just a hair a little bit and hopefully make it 90 degrees exactly. So hopefully that'll be a good little tip for you. And I'm not exactly sure if it'll do it or not, but I know it shrunk last time, but I didn't have enough tacks on there. But I'm pretty sure it's going to shrink a little bit more, and I think it'll come back to almost 90 degrees. That's a little tip for you guys. I don't know if you know it already or not, but I'm not sure if it'll work. I think it'll work. I'm pretty sure it'll get me pretty close. These don't have to be super accurate. I mean, I want it to be as good looking as it can, but they're only shelves to hold up just little bottles and stuff in a little wastewater, I don't know what it is. So like a garbage dump or something, municipal building. In a little room to hold up like little paint cans and stuff, I think. So just got to be strong, but it'll be plenty strong, but it doesn't have to be accurate. But I still want it to be as best looking and accurate as I could get it. So that's why I already cut it. It wasn't super warped before, but I wanted to get it better than it was. It was enough to annoy me. So little tip for everybody. I'll weld it up. I probably won't show you that. I'll just show you the final results, maybe, to see how accurate I got it and if that tip worked or not. So I'll show you failures or not failures, because I might have to, if it doesn't move in or it moves in too much, I still might have to cut it again and figure it out from there. So trial and error, but we'll show you guys the results. So what I'm using is this FUPA 12 cup, bigger cup for the stainless steel, just to help the coloring. And with these cups, you really got to be careful of windage. I got a fan going over there, and yesterday when I was welding this, something was messing me up, and it was the wind over there, and even though it's not pointed at me, I felt like a tiny little gust where it was, but this will get ground down and it's fine how it is. But a little tip for you guys, when you're using the big cups, you don't want much wind around you because it affects it big time. All right, so I got it all tacked up, and as you can see, I put a lot of tacks on it right there. And it actually, with all those tacks on, I had it clamped down a little too. It actually pulled in to right at 90, so I probably should have opened it up just a hair more. Hopefully it doesn't pull in a little bit more, which it might. If it does a little bit, that's okay, but if it does a lot, I might have to redo it. But as of right now, we're pretty much perfect. So that just shows you right there, tacking it, or with a big gap like there, that it does pull in. And I put a tack right there first and a middle one, and I checked it and still had the gap. And then when I put like 3 or 4 more on there, it actually started to pull up more, or close in more. So just shows you right there how much metal pulls. And that was probably like, I don't know, 32nd to a 16th out at 6 inches. So yeah, stainless pulls. My aluminum backer piece on here, I wanted to use a thicker piece, but this is working a little better where I can get a couple clamps on there and keep it clamped. I could have turned it sideways, like flip this down a little and put a piece like that and C-clamped it on, but then it would have been sitting up and just a little easier to weld like this. I think if it's easier for me to weld, I'll put less heat into it, so I figured that into it too. So wish me luck. Okay, so I let it cool down a little bit and we'll go to check it. What I did was I took the air hose, and I don't know, I'm not the best with the air hose thing. Some people are a lot better with it, but what I think is if I cooled it down on the outside a little bit, it might have helped pull it this way more, where if I would have cooled it down on the inside, maybe it would have pulled it in a little bit more. That's just my thinking, but I know you can use the air hose to your favor and your benefit with helping distortion. And I cooled it down a little bit that way. It cooled down a little faster and hopefully didn't pull in as much more. So some people say it's rapid cooling, and some people say it's good and it's bad. I don't know, but let's moment of truth. Not bad. We got a tiny bit of pulled in more. We're like a 64th maybe. Down here we're like almost perfect, maybe. Up here we're perfect, so right there we just got a little bit of distortion. Down here a little bit. We're probably like within a 64th, but let's see how it is when I unclamp it too. Oh, nice. That's what I wanted to see. I was afraid when I unclamped it, it would have sucked it in more, but I think we're pretty good. Not bad. You could probably push on this if you wanted and bend it out a little, but I think we're pretty good. So that's just a little tip for everybody. What I should have did, I should have brought it out a little bit more, and then it would have made it perfect, but I'm happy with that. I think we're well within tolerance, and it really doesn't even have to, it could be worse than that, but I want to make it as best as I can. And let's just see how it looks. Yeah, it looks fine. So that's a little tip for everybody. Just dealing with distortion, especially with big gaps, it does it a lot. With the little gaps, it doesn't do it as much, but it still pulls in a little bit. But big gaps, definitely. And you could see how many tacks I put on there. And I didn't need, like I put that tack on, I put the middle one on, and it was still good. And I didn't heat up that tack. Like some people, if you go to put another tack on right next to that tack, it'll melt that tack and pull it in a little bit. So that's one thing you just got to be careful with heating up your tack, and it might melt it and pull it in and mess it up. But I didn't do that, and I put a lot of tacks on there and it still pulled. So that just goes to show you how much distortion metal shrinks, and especially with gaps. Steel and aluminum is one big heat distortion metal. stainless steel does it a lot, but I come to notice that aluminum does it a lot too. I think it's a lot more softer and brittler. I don't know, or softer where it does it. I had that happen. Project I was working on a couple weeks ago, it did that, and that's what made me think of. I said I wish I made a video on that just to show you how much distortion happens. But with stainless it does it, aluminum it does it, steel it does it with, anything it does it with. But just got to be careful with it, and sometimes know that going into it, or afterwards you might have to cut it apart or something. But still not done, but it's done for the video and everything. I gotta grind these welds down and just sand them down, blend them in a little bit. And I got one more piece to put on here, but that won't be back probably till next week. And I got a little polishing to do, cleaning up of all this stuff. But that's it for now. I got 7 more to work on, and we'll get to it. But a little tip for you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed. That was a little tip. I guess we could call that a Fab Tip Friday, which hopefully I'll put it out by tomorrow. Today's Thursday. What is today? The 12th. Hopefully I'll get it out for you guys for Friday. It should be a quick little easy video for everybody, but we'll call it Fab Tip Friday, heat distortion or something like that, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Here, get my microphone. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys on the next one. Chris Winarski, over and out. Have it all, the corners polished up, inside cleaned up a little. I still gotta oakite it, and I might have to pickle paste it to get rid of some of the other stuff. I cleaned up some of this stuff a little. I might do that a little bit more, but pretty good. Ta-da! And then here's basically what we got: a left piece, a right piece, there's the middles. And then we got our sheets like that. So those are longer ones, but I think there's might be some shorter ones in there, or just one short one, but that's it. So we got them broke, drilled, cut, hemmed to make it a little stronger, and notched out like that. So just got to deburr them a little bit more, and should be good to go. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Instagram where I post more often at Chris Winarski. See you on the next one.